Hey, what's going on, guys? We're pretty much in the fall now. It's officially the fall, and we're gonna start seeing a lot more action picking up now. I'm Alex Briss, and this is your weekly fishing report. Let's start off with what's going on out here. I know it's been a couple horrible weekends, just wind, rain, and all of that, but it's officially the fall, and fishing should be picking up now. A lot of breaking fish out there, anywhere south of the Bay Bridge towards Thomas Point and beyond that. You're going to be finding breaking fish on any kind of tide change. You want to focus on the mouth of the rivers whenever you have an outflow of bait, which means outgoing tides are going to be your best bet for finding fish, breaking fish, and make sure you check the edges. Everybody's reporting, fishing. If you're trolling, everybody's reporting fish, kind of holding tight to the bottom, and you pretty much are fishing 20 to 40 foot of water. And what that means is you're going to have to get those lures closer to the bottom. Doesn't mean you have to touch the bottom, but you want to keep them just a couple feet above from the bottom. Best thing to use right now, it's pretty much your umbrellas. With 6-inch shads, that's going to be the best bet out there. Use a couple on your double drops. 2-ounce hardhead bug skirts like this are going to be the best thing to use right now. These are probably going to be the best two colors you'll find out there. Just your white and chartreuse color. Like they say in the Bay, if it ain't chartreuse, it ain't no use. So make sure you use that chartreuse color. It's going to be able to pick you up some good fish, especially with some murky water in a couple of these rivers from all that runoff. Top water bite has been picking up. It's kind of spotty right now in certain areas. I've been hearing a lot about the Patapsco River, and I know we always talk about the Patapsco River. Good structure up there. Mainly mornings, and we're talking about nowadays since it's the fall, it's going to be more towards early morning until about 10 o'clock, and you're going to be able to find some fish near shoreline structure. I know a lot of people are confused when you say structure. It doesn't mean that you're going to be running over structure in like 15 foot of water. What you want to look for is pretty much shoreline structure, docks, sunken ships, any kind of structure that's close to the shoreline or in 5 to 1 foot of water. That's going to be the best bet when those fish push in shallow. And you guys know this bait, Whopper Plopper, 110, the 130. We have the 75 now, so any kind of like action bait like this, it creates a lot of commotion, will be pretty good right now. But also don't forget to carry a couple spooks. That's going to be more of your subtle topwater bait, which means if they're not hitting this, there's a good chance they might want this more subtle action bait, like a spook. This is a Livingston one. As you notice, both of them are black. Black is one of my favorite colors, and it's also one of the colors that produces pretty well for topwater. Thomas Point, still holding some fish. Eastern Bay around Poplar Island, that's going to be one of the areas where everybody's been fishing. All the islands inside Eastern Bay are going to hold fish, or any kind of shoreline structure will hold fish. If you can find a point with shallow water and a deep drop on one side, that's probably going to be your best area. Any kind of shoal areas, even though if there's no structure and there's 2 foot of water on that side and then 20 foot of water on this side, put your baits across that drop off and you'll pick up some fish. So like I said, Love Point and inside the Chester River, I've been hearing good reports of that. So remember, try the morning and also your afternoon bite. We'll definitely pick up some fish in those areas. Now for you guys jigging, channel edges, some of the hot spots right now. Tollies was holding some fish, probably still hold some fish. Brickhouse Point, the bar is going to also hold some fish right now. Good reports of people coming out of there. Make sure you scan the area and try to find a fish before you start jigging. If you can, you can also just kind of drift along the drop-offs and jig. If you're not marking anything, it doesn't mean necessarily that there might not be anything there. So make sure you check those areas. Bay Bridge pilings always hold fish. Just make sure you go there when you have some sort of current. Slack tides have not been that great, so make sure you have an incoming, outgoing tide. When the current is at its highest, that's usually when you're going to have the best jig and bite on those pilings there. So also a couple other areas, 7 foot knoll, same thing. Fish around the structure. There's drop-offs around the area, so make sure you check those out. And what a best thing to use than a GI jig. 1/2 ounce to 3/4 ounce is going to be the perfect size pair that up with some busting baits on the small size and the bigger size. Play around with the sizes just to see what they want that day, and let the fish show you what they want. So make sure you switch your colors, switch your baits. But this has been one of the best producers on that mackerel color, more of a natural color, so that's going to be pretty good for you guys out there. Now, for you guys bait fishing, chumming has been producing pretty well at Hickory Point. Swan Point is still producing a good amount of fish. Thomas Point, we've been hearing fish, in the mid-20s down there. Mainly, remember, in the outgoing tides or any kind of tide movement in the morning has been producing a good amount of fish on those areas. Bloody Point is still holding some fish, but we have not gotten any big reports out of there so far. Like I said, Bluff Point is one of the areas that everybody's been fishing, and also even inside the Key Bridge and the Patapsco, people have been pulling out some pretty good, decent sized fish out of there, up to 28 inches, a couple 30s out of there. And this time of the year, when the water starts to cool down, and like I said, mentioning with trolling, those fish being closer to the bottom, chumming usually picks up pretty well this time of the year, so expect that chumming bite to pick up in the next week or two. Perch fishing, like we mentioned before, any kind of oyster bar area, sandy bottom, those fish are going to be there. Just bloodworms, racer clamps are going to be your best bet, and also you might be able to pick up some of those spot. There's still some spot around, and if you find some spot, make sure you live line them around structure. Like I said, Thomas Point, Lighthouse, Baltimore Lighthouse, the Bay Bridge, or over suspended fish, and you'll be able to pick up some fish for sure with that. Besides that, you guys fishing from the shoreline, your typical bites still going on. A lot of catfish, some mid-sized stripers, and a good amount of perch. Nothing has really changed in most of the piers around this area, and that's including Sandy Point, Peak, and Rumacoke. Now, let's jump into some of the snakehead fishing. This is a hot topic right now since the bite is pretty good on the lower eastern shore, Blackwater area. A lot of good reports of fish up to 12 pounds coming out of Blackwater. It seems like the bite right now, it's more of an afternoon bite since the water temperature kind of cools down in the morning and it picks up in the afternoon. So live target frogs, hollow body frogs are going to be your best thing, and also bust baits with that frog body are going to be pretty well lures for your snakeheads. Don't be surprised if you catch a couple rockfish or even some bass down there, but the fishing is pretty much on down there. So if you're trying to get into some snakeheads, make sure you check that out and go to Blackwater. That's going to be your best bet. Ocean fishing right now, it's been kind of hit or miss. A lot of reports of sheep's head coming out of the inlet. That's been the hottest topic down there. A lot of guys picking them off with peeler crabs, sand fleas, or green crabs. Those are your best baits. Just fish them really close to structure and you'll be able to pick up a few sheep's head. Surf fishing, bluefish, small bluefish, kingfish, and even some small red drum. A couple of reports on some big ones, but haven't heard much from them. Mullet, LY, which is bunker for you guys down in the ocean, that's what you guys call it, and some crab baits. And that's going to be pretty good for you guys surf fishing this time of the year. That's it for your fishing report, guys. Make sure you send us your pictures, send us your reports, and you guys have a good one.